Hello everyone, I'm Richard White, Chief Operating Officer at Oxford Pharmagenesis. I'm delighted to be invited to present at this Friends of the National Library of Medicine webinar. I'll be talking about emerging trends in the use of artificial intelligence, and in particular, the viewpoint from an organisation that supports the pharmaceutical industry. First of all, a very brief introduction to me. I'm a pharmacologist by training and spent a number of years in academic research, and along the way have added training in marketing and health economics. I'm currently at Oxford Pharmagenesis, and that's a leading global independent health science communications consultancy. We work with most of the leading global pharmaceutical companies, and we're increasingly seeing artificial intelligence, AI, being applied in the pharma industry across research, development, and communications. And we've recently established a practice in informatics and data science, specifically to support our clients in those areas. So we all know one of the major drivers for the use of AI and automation is the tremendous pace of growth in the volume of healthcare data. It's exponential, it's faster than any other industry, and it's making it very challenging for the healthcare community and for researchers to keep up with, access and utilize information. Indeed, a recent survey showed that 83% of clinicians find it hard to keep up with research in their field. And I suppose the promise of AI is that it can help clinicians and researchers make sense of data at scale. As this graphic illustrates, there's a huge volume and variety of health-related big data, clinical information, electronic health records, clinical trials, publications databases, and so on. What AI and informatics more broadly can do is help us access, visualize, and gain insights from data in a way that simply wouldn't be possible manually. Now, the problem that we see is that many of us regard AI as a bit of a black box because of its complexity and a lack of transparency in how it works. There is an unmet need to help potential users to understand the basic principles and, where possible, use these approaches in our research. And many people actually fear artificial intelligence and fear, in particular, machines replacing humans. But we see that slightly differently, and our view is that AI will not replace clinicians and researchers, but clinicians and researchers who use AI will replace those who do not. And that's because if we look at the development life cycle for healthcare products, AI can potentially be implemented at every stage, right from early R&D insights to accelerate clinical development programs, right through to analysis of real-world evidence for treatments that are on the market to inform how they should best be used. Some of these applications of artificial intelligence are more well established than others. For example, AI is already being used very effectively in diagnostics, interpretation of disease scans, and in analysis of real-world data. But it's important to be clear that pharma companies are already exploring AI in all of these areas. Now, one thing I would say is that you don't have to be a researcher analysing big data sets yourself to gain benefits from AI. Here's a slide that we show when we introduce our informatics and data science capabilities. And AI is really a key part of informatics and data science, and increasingly being used in activities that are familiar to us as healthcare researchers and communicators. This certainly includes analytics, but it also includes things like data visualization and data communication. And the final box on this slide shows that a lot of what we're currently doing with pharmaceutical clients is helping them work out their strategy for the use of AI and training and educating their people around how it works and what it can do. So I wanted to take just a minute to run through an example of a project we've been involved with, which will play as I'm speaking. And it's using AI to support drug repurposing, and that is identifying potential new indications for molecules that are already on the market for a particular disease area. The challenge here is that there's a huge number of data sets with relevant information, and mining those data sets for insights is really only possible by machine. So this is essentially, if you like, an in silico drug discovery tool. And what you can see here is that we're combining the insights from AI with good informatics approaches to data visualization so that researchers can see what potential new indications might be possible for an existing asset, and then look at the strength of evidence and interrogate the original research in more detail if they want to. And I think this is a great example of using AI to support data analysis visualization and communication. So, just to wrap up, AI, we think, does remain a black box despite all of its uses, and so effective communication is needed because people won't trust something they don't understand. We need to understand it, we need to be able to communicate what's going on to non-technical audiences, and clinicians are a great example. What did the developers do? Why did they do it? How did they do it? What does it mean? What doesn't it mean? There are so many ways that AI can support research, but it is a complex field. And as an industry, we need to get to grips with it, and quite quickly, because it's already here and its use is only going to increase. Thank you.